Guys, so today is going to be a sort of different type of video, I guess you want to say. I just wanted to talk about stuff from high school. I'm well out of high school. I'm going to have my 20-year high school reunion in the fall. So yeah, out of high school for 20 years. And I had kept some notes in papers from school. Some of it is creative writing. I had a creative writing class and it had helped me to get things out because I was different in high school. I'm different now, like I haven't changed. I've been different for, most of my life, and I guess it was sort of difficult for me around my family and my fellow classmates who weren't like me. I had a few friends who were different like me, but besides that, a majority of the people in my school were just like, your average type of person. And sometimes it can be hard to deal with being different in school, especially if you're being bullied or picked on. So what I did was I used to write a lot. And I actually have a different video that I had done in the past. It's a bunch of my poems that I read. So if you want to check that out, I will leave the link up here. And like I said, I had this creative writing course, so I kind of just wanted to share like some papers that I found of things that I wrote, and I kind of forgot that I wrote this stuff, and when I read it, I was kind of like, wow, like I really did feel kind of out of place and different when I was younger, and it was a struggle for me. And also realizing that I had anxiety back then, that I didn't know the word anxiety, didn't know what it was. I just knew I had this weird feeling inside of me. So I'll read you some of the stuff, and then at the end I'll kind of go on to a lighter note with like some funny things like notes and stuff like that we used to pass back and forth in class, I guess. So I guess this is kind of like a high school, like, I don't even know, storytelling type of video for me today. So the first one I will read. This is from my creative writing course, and it talks about just me in general being different in being around my family and other people and how I felt. So it's probably not written that great because I wasn't the best with grammar or phrasing things properly. In spelling, I was terrible, so bear with me. And also I was young. I was probably like 16 at the time. It says, "Why is it that I should be judged for what I look like and not who I am within? It doesn't really bother me that strangers stare at me or make comments about the way I look, because I like the way I look and I am proud of who I am. The people who are my real friends like the way I look, but mostly they like me, not what I am wearing. The thing that bothers me is that my own parents won't accept who I am. I try to stay away from my house as much as possible because I hate being there. The only time I'm ever home is from 12:30 at night when I get home from work, or going out with my friends until 7 in the morning when I have to go to school. The reason why I hate being home is because of my family. They don't like the way I look or act. I can't talk to my mother without having her yell at me for some reason. We used to be so close, but now I feel so far away. She hurts me so much when she tells me things like she is ashamed to have me as her daughter. Then there's my father. He has gotten better in the past few years because he has given up on bothering me about the way that I look. This is good for me because I was so sick of listening to him day after day telling me what to wear and saying things like, take that shit off your face. I guess the person that hurts me the most by making fun of me is my own sister. Before I could talk to my sister about anything. Now I can't even stand to be around her. No matter what I wear, to her it looks stupid. So she constantly embarrasses me in front of her friends and even my own friends. She tells everyone that I'm going through a phase and that I'll change. The thing is, I'm not going through a phase. I am content with the way I look, but she just can't seem to realize that. Why do people have to be so judgmental? If I like the way I look and act, then why should anybody else care what I do? I went to this club the other night, so this must have been in the beginning when I was going to the goth club. So I might have been around like 17 because we used, 16, 17 because we used other people's IDs. I went to this club the other night and I felt so comfortable. Everywhere I looked, everyone look different, but we were so much alike because they were all just being themselves no matter what other people thought. Finally, I found a place where I could just be myself. So I'm sure a lot of kids struggle with their parents not approving of what they do or how they look, especially if you're alternative like I am and like I was back then. I guess I kind of blocked out how much my parents like harassed me about that. I kind of like maybe fooled myself and said like, oh, it didn't bother them that much. But reading this, obviously it did. If my mother was ashamed of the way that I looked and my father would bother me all the time about my appearance. And also the thing with my sister about her making fun of me and things like that. I remember that, and you know, it hurt my feelings, and it's awful. Like, you shouldn't do that to your sibling, even if you guys are two different types of people. But I guess this is just a part of growing up. A lot of us go through this type of thing. Whether you're alternative or not, you're gonna get picked on by somebody, or somebody's not gonna like the way that you look or act. Thankfully, my parents aren't like that anymore. They know that this is who I am, and they don't, maybe like once in a while they'll just like jokingly say something, but mom will always be like, oh, you still got the wing going, like the makeup and stuff like that. But my sister, like, we get along like totally fine now. She likes, you know, some of the things that I like and the way I dress, and she even asks me for like makeup tips and stuff like that. So I guess things do get better for a lot of people. Well, it did for me, I know that. So I think that reading this, I kind of felt, it like took me back, and I like started feeling sad again and bad for myself. And I was like, no, don't do that, because we've come so far. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. And if anybody out there is going through the same thing that's in school now, and that, you know, they're different, alternative, goth, metal, whatever you are, then maybe that's something that might help you, like an outlet like creative writing or writing poetry or something like that. This next thing touches on anxiety. When like I said, I didn't know what anxiety was back then. Now I know. Like, reading this, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like talking about my anxiety, and I was totally clueless back then. So the title of this is just fear, and this was another thing from my creative writing class. The strongest fear that I have is of being lost. My fear goes two ways. I am physically afraid of being lost, like going someplace and not knowing where I am or how to get there. I still have that problem. When I am going somewhere with one of my friends, I have to know how to get there, or something inside me triggers and I fall into a trance of nervousness. My friend is aware of how I feel. So every time I question her if she knows how to get somewhere, like where we're going, she always tells me, yes, just so I don't freak out. So I don't know if she was lying to me, but I still do that. I like have to have a plan. Like, if I'm going someplace, like say I'm going to a concert, I'm like, I need the directions how to get there, and like I'm going this route, and like if I'm driving, I'm like, oh, I better get over to like this lane because I'm getting off at this exit in this many miles. And it's like I have to have everything planned out in my head, or like I have like an anxiety attack. Me being as strange as I am, there also has to be a strange side of my fear. There is a stronger path of my fear where I become lost emotionally. This side of my fear is not so easy for me to explain. Every now and then I lose all thought, almost as if my mind goes blank. Then I start to think again, but it is of who I am and what the hell am I doing. I fall into a depression where I want to be left alone by everyone. I no longer want to do anything. Not so much that I don't want to, but that I am mentally and physically unable to. I feel so very lost, and I don't know which direction to turn. I don't always feel emotionally lost, but I slip into this feeling at times, and it takes me a while to fall back out of it. Like, that I feel like is very like deep for a 16-year-old, I guess. Like dealing with depression and feeling lost. And I was like that for, you know, quite a long time, until like, I want to say like my late 20s. I just felt very lost, and like no one understood me, or I was always going to be alone. Just scared, I guess, for like what was going to happen in the future, or just thinking like, I always was like, I'm never going to like, you know, reach the age of like this. Like, first it was like, I'm never going to turn 21. I'm going to die, or like, I'm never going to make it to my 30s. It was always just like this impending doom. Like, I was always feeling, and it was horrible for me. So now, like, reading this, like I said, it's like I realized I had anxiety, I had depression, and I didn't know how to deal with it. Now I have a better grip on things, and I figured out ways to deal with my anxiety. Like, I have a different video talking all about anxiety and how I cope and stuff like that. So yeah, that was just like another little snippet from my creative writing class. This next one is sort of a poem. Same thing from my creative writing class. And it was talking about a friend of mine. Now, when I was growing up, like, I was never really into drugs or anything like that. I smoked weed, but that was it. Where I was surrounded by a lot of people who were into heavier drugs, like cocaine, heroin, you know, doing like acid or shrooms or pills. Like, I never did any of those things. I wasn't that type of person. So being around it was difficult for me to understand. And, you know, at the same time, I'm like trying to help my friends, but I'm not really understanding what they're going through. And they're not understanding that I am seeing this and it hurts me. So this is one of the poems I wrote about one of my friends who at the time was a drug addict. He wastes a day without thinking. He says he cares, but of caring, what does he know? Evil substances of the earth control his life and lead his soul to hatred. Does he know the pain he is causing, or the ones close to him he's hurting? Maybe madness of the past has caused what he is doing in the present. To himself, life is a game that he is slowly losing. But in time, God let him realize what he is doing. He laughs at the loss of the day and says it's cool to inflict pain on himself and others. He holds his fate, his life and destiny. What a true mystery this soul seems to be. He's a user, a fighter, and a disbeliever and liar, strong and weak, careless and free. He who stands in his way or thoughts upon life will be merely forgotten in his stubborn mind. He knows not what he conjures or lives or lives he has touched. I hope for the light to break upon his face and all he can be. This man, he stands alone, but still nothing he sees. So yeah, he was just a type of person that, like I said, did a lot of drugs, like didn't care, like laughed it off. And if you tried to help him, he was just kind of like, not so much I don't need your help, but he wasn't going to change for anybody and he really wouldn't take any help. Now I can say I don't think that he's doing these same things anymore. I barely keep in touch with him, and I hope he's doing well. From what I hear, he's doing pretty well. But, you know, I was a teenager, and like I'm dealing with people around me like on drugs, and it was really hard for me. So I don't know if any of you who are younger are going through that. And all I can say is just be careful of what you're doing. I know kids want to experiment with drugs and stuff like that, but in the end, you're only doing damage to yourself and other people around you who are witnessing you doing these things. Like, I don't know. It just wasn't for me. I was never into it. Never into drugs. Never wanted to risk it. It was never cool for me or something that I was curious about. Like, never, never, ever. So yeah, that's the end for that. So let's end on a lighter note, and I'll show you guys. So we used to pass notes in high school. I don't know if you guys do that now still, because you have texting, and we didn't have that back then. So we passed notes in school, and I found this like gigantic bag of notes. This is it right here. It's in a Gap bag from like the 90s. It's like completely filled with notes from my friends. And just like stupid shit that we used to talk about, or just like being bored, you know, a lot of music things with one of my friends who like, we both like the same type of music. And it's just funny to like see this stuff. We were really into Metallica. As you can see, it's like Lars Ulrich, that's the drummer for Metallica. We used to like write like all over the paper, like everything. It's like James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett, who are the other members of the band, Jason Newsted. And then she did like a little thing down the bottom. It's like you know, Lars playing the drums and Jason playing the bass, and it's like playing like the the Four Horsemen. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I was dying because we just like, that's all we did. It was like band logos that we used to write on like the paper and stuff like that, and like just stupid notes like, hey, what's up? Nothing much here. But nothing much here was like NMH. You didn't write it out. Dude, I can't wait till tonight. It's gonna rule. Dude, I hope Dexter has his braids in. I'll die if he doesn't. Now, she's talking about when we went to go see The Offspring play, and the lead singer used to always wear braids in his hair. So what's up? I'm bored as hell. I'm in history, and it's boring. Well, I'll talk to you when we get home today. See you later. Love, Kelly. P.S. Offspring tonight. P.S.S. Metallica rules. P.S.S.S. I love Jason. I love Lars, and you love Jason. Oh my god, it's just like, cracks me up, like, the stuff, like, we like just wrote about the most idiotic things. I don't know if you guys did this, but please let me know if you did. And like, I didn't fold them properly, but you like did this thing where you like folded them like and tucked them into each other, and there's like all different ways to like fold like notes and stuff. And I have only gone through a few of these because I feel like it's going to take me forever if I try to go through the whole thing. But I don't want to bore you guys with like boring high school notes, but I just wanted to give you like the idea of it. And then just one more thing was I took a music course in high school, I guess, or class, or whatever you want to call it, because it was like all the classes were boring, so we were like, what can we do that's cool? And so they had like music theater and music theory, and there were two different classes that I took, and I just remember for one of them we had to do like a report. We had to stand in front of the class and give like an oral report, and me and my friend, the one that wrote that note, we did it on Metallica. And I found like all these notes about on the report that we did, and it was just like, Lars Ulrich was from Los Angeles. He was searching people to start a heavy metal band. Around the time of 1977, people were into punk, not metal. Lars met a guitarist and lead singer named James Hetfield, bass player Ron McGovney, and lead guitarist Lloyd Grant. And it just goes on, and like, I just remember like, we were like, this report is gonna be so awesome. Like, we know everything about Metallica, like how they started and like where they went, and like how, like, you know, changed band members and stuff like that. And he got like an A, I think it was like A+++, because we did so good, and we're like, yeah. So I just thought that was like a little cute thing to share with you guys. But yeah, just something different that I wanted to share with you guys today. I didn't really know like what to title this video as, or like the main direction of it, but I guess it was just mostly talking about being different in high school, and like when I was, or being a teenager and being different, alternative, and the way I coped with it, with the creative writing, and you know, then talking about, you know, the more fun things with like friends, and like, you know, the good moments that we were able to share with one another via notes. So I don't know, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it wasn't too weird or too like, I don't know, all over the place for you guys. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think. Like I said, did you guys write notes in school? Like, did you have any type of cool like creative writing classes or music classes that you guys took? Besides that, we had like, I had another class, like silk screening class. That class was awesome, where we got to make our own t-shirts. So we designed our own logos and stuff. And I remember I would do ones for like band stuff, and like make like cool t-shirts and stuff like that. I wish I still have them. I don't know what the hell happened to them. And then also let me know if you guys are going through any of this yourself now, if you're a teen watching this, if you're having trouble in school or with your parents and stuff like that. And I don't know, just leave me a comment, and I'd love to talk to you, or maybe just give you some advice of, you know, like what I did when I was younger. So anyways, until next time, stay dark, my friends, and I will talk to you guys later.